let's take Barack, for example. You still take my breath away. How?
Right.
With your anger? With your complete inability to just get with the program and show up?
At the inauguration, so I have to walk in like a lonely soldier.
Megyn Kelly didn't just call Barack Obama the most divisive president in history. She may have pulled the first thread in a decade-long cover-up. December 2024, Kelly's rant set the table. But within weeks, the calendar turned into a tabloid timeline from another universe. January 2025, Michelle Obama skips both Jimmy Carter's funeral and Donald Trump's inauguration, leaving Barack to appear solo and, some say, exposed. But here's what almost nobody is connecting. Just 3 weeks before Kelly unloaded on Obama's so-called legacy, a familiar ghost from the Obama years crawled back into the headlines: Larry Sinclair. Tucker Carlson, an interview that practically set X, formerly known as Twitter, on fire, where Sinclair repeated his old story: a night in 1999, a pile of substances, a private encounter, and a man named Barack who, according to Sinclair, didn't just talk about change but had a taste for it. For a minute, Sinclair was a one-man wrecking crew. But then, days after Kelly's broadcast, In Touch pushed out a glossy cover: Jen and Barack, Hollywood collides with Pennsylvania Avenue, right on cue. Coincidence, or did someone somewhere smash a panic button?
He actually wants us to feel sorry for him. Like this multi-millionaire with this megaphone on broadcast television, despite his terrible ratings. By the way, I speak of both of them in that commentary. Out there like we're the real victims. Meanwhile, he's a bully. He uses that platform to demonize a group of people, just MAGA, right? Which includes tons, millions of working class.
We have to wonder if anyone in D.C. expected this kind of chain reaction. Megyn Kelly's December tirade, which went viral within hours, wasn't just standard cable outrage. She accused Obama of poisoning the nation's bloodstream, saying his calm delivery hid a deeper strategy. He presented as a unifier, but he made everything about race. That quote echoed everywhere from podcast clips to news tickers, especially after Kelly named names, calling Obama's approach to law enforcement and healthcare the playbook for division. We've seen critics say similar things, but coming from Kelly with her NBC past and Fox News baggage, it stuck. The next news cycle, the story had mutated. Legacy networks ran segments about the dangers of divisive rhetoric. Obama loyalists jumped in with statements about preserving hope. The hashtag #ObamaDivide trended. Then, almost overnight, the focus drifted away from policy toward personal secrets.
I have something super fun for you to discuss now, and I'm sad for Rich that he won't get to weigh in on it, but you're going to be really honored. Michelle Obama, as you know, has got a podcast, and she's putting it to good use. I mean, she's really working through a lot of her feelings about the United States, about her husband, about her children. P.S. The answer on all three of those is she can't stand them. She hated motherhood, she can't stand her marriage, and she's not too keen on the United States.
Here's why that shift matters. The timeline gets tight, and the drama starts stacking. Early January, Michelle Obama, normally the ultimate team player, sits out two of the most scrutinized public ceremonies in recent history. First, she's nowhere to be seen at former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. Insiders, according to press statements, cited a scheduling conflict, that famously vague term that covers everything from illness to not wanting to breathe the same air as a rival. Then, barely a week later, Michelle skips Donald Trump's inauguration, leaving Barack as the only former president's spouse not in attendance. The Obama press office confirmed only Barack would attend, dodging every follow-up about Michelle's absence. It wasn't a one-off. The whispers started immediately. Were the Obamas living separate lives? Was this payback for something? Or was Michelle's absence a silent protest, as her defenders suggested, aimed not at Barack, but at the whole D.C. circus?
Got to spend a minute on the Obamas, because there seems to be some momentum picking up in the rumor mill about their marriage. All right, I'm going to bring you what I know.
But even before Michelle's vanishing act, Sinclair had opened the floodgates. The Sinclair interview, taped in mid-November, released just before the holidays, was classic Tucker Carlson, heavy on suspense, light on verification. Sinclair repeated the same claims he's been making since 2008. A private encounter, substances, and a Barack Obama, who at the time was just an Illinois state senator, had given Barack $250 to pay for substances. I started to put a line on a CD tray, and the next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he is using it, Sinclair told Carlson, adding that things went the direction I had intended. Sinclair didn't offer new evidence. He failed a lie detector in 2008. He was arrested at his own press conference, and most mainstream networks have written him off as unreliable. Still, timing is everything. The story went viral for a reason. If there's one rule in politics, it's that scandals have a shelf life. until someone restocks the fridge.
Have you heard the rumor that Barack Obama and Jennifer Aniston had an affair that ended his marriage? People that I respect, some that I even love, who may or may not watch this show.
So why now? That's where the next domino falls. Just as the Sinclair story was peaking, In Touch magazine, a tabloid with a taste for chaos, dropped its Jen and Barack cover. The headline, "Michelle betrayed as Aniston steals her husband's attention." The subheader did its job too. If America loves one thing more than a comeback, it's a triangle. Jennifer Aniston, who's been the poster child for rebound rumors since the early 2000s, suddenly found herself swept into the post-presidential after-party. Her rep denied everything. Absolutely untrue, Aniston told Jimmy Kimmel, wagging her finger at a copy of the magazine. "I've met him once. I know Michelle more than him." Yet the problem wasn't the denial, the problem was how plausible the setup seemed. The once Aniston referred to happened at a Netflix event in 2022, right after the Obamas' Higher Ground Productions signed a $100 million deal with Netflix, the same streaming giant where Aniston stars in The Morning Show, and where Barack's Leave the World Behind famously fizzled. In this universe, tabloid rumors aren't born. They're manufactured, one business deal at a time. Was the alleged affair just clickbait, or was there a business arrangement that soured when the ratings did? Behind all this, the old rumors about the Obama marriage reanimated like bad soap opera plotlines. In 2023, influencer-turned-columnist Jessica Reed Krause posted a Substack newsletter quoting, "Leaked DMS," and unnamed sources claiming that Barack and Michelle haven't lived together in years. That line, like a virus, got repeated by Megyn McCain on her podcast. "Very serious journalists are telling me that the Obama divorce rumors are true." Political reporter Tara Palmieri, trading in DC Access, replied that she'd heard that for a long time that they lived separate lives. The more the rumors ran, the less anyone seemed able to squash them. And when Michelle missed those key public moments, the drumbeat only got louder. Was this the final sign that the marriage was in trouble? Or just two people finally tired of putting on the Washington show? Even the Obamas' birthday post to each other, Barack's happy birthday to the love of my life alongside a photo of the couple hands stretched across a table, became internet Rorschach tests. Was it evidence of love or a carefully timed counterattack against a rising tide of gossip?
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X.
We can't ignore the fact that none of these rumors have been confirmed by anyone on record. Every friend of the Obamas, every official rep, has denied any hint of trouble. A source close to Aniston called the story beyond absurd. Vanity Fair, quick to push back, labeled the entire rumor mill as MAGA fantasy. But denials never make headlines the way rumors do. Instead, every time Michelle skips another event or Barack posts a curated message, the speculation wheel spins fast. Even the claim that Michelle hates politics has become its own sort of alibi, a catch-all explanation for any public absence, even as the stakes for their public image keep rising. If this feels like deja vu, we only need to look back a decade. July 2014, Joan Rivers, a woman who never met a camera she didn't like, is ambushed outside a Manhattan bookstore. Asked if America will ever see its first rainbow community or female president, Rivers fires back, "We already have it with Obama. You know Michelle is a transgender." She shrugs it off as a joke, but social media grabs hold. A month later, August 2014, Rivers is admitted to a New York clinic for a minor throat procedure. Within days, tragedy strikes. She stops breathing, falls into a coma, and never recovers. The demise is ruled an accident, but investigations find multiple errors by the clinic. Failure to monitor vital signs, wrong anesthesia, even allegations of performing the procedure without written consent. By 2016, Rivers' daughter Melissa sues the clinic for gross negligence. The settlement? Confidential. The procedure? Still controversial. The conspiracy? Alive and well. After all, as soon as Rivers made her comments about Barack and Michelle, the internet's fringe lit up with theories. Was her tragedy just bad luck? Or had she crossed a line with the wrong people?
Michelle Obama is a man. His words, quote, tranny. And he, Joan Rivers, because Joan Rivers exposed the truth.
The conspiracy had legs because it wasn't the first time Michelle Obama's gender became a punchline for the tabloids. Back in 2014, the National Enquirer ran with a headline about Michelle's secret past as a man. It was pure clickbait, but in the new digital age, rumors don't fade, they get recycled. In 2020, a viral TikTok pointed out Michelle's Adam's apple in old photos. More fuel, less fact. In 2023, that Jessica Reed Krause Substack post stitched the whispers together. Not just that the Obamas lived apart, but that Michelle's identity was the real White House secret. Now, When Megyn McCain or any DC insider repeats those rumors, it sounds less like idle gossip and more like confirmation, if only by repetition. And then there's the Jennifer Aniston angle. In Touch put her face next to Obama's, but the actual timeline tells a messier story. October 2024, the Jen and Barack cover hit stands, citing anonymous sources about private dinners and business meetings. Aniston goes on Kimmel, shrugs, and says she's baffled by the story. She's met Barack once and knows Michelle better. But the proximity is real. Netflix signed the Obamas to a massive production deal. Aniston is one of the platform's marquee stars. Leave the World Behind, the Obamas' latest movie, tanked critically and failed to bring in subscribers. Was the friendship with Aniston, as insiders allege, just Hollywood networking gone sideways? Or was the gossip machine just looking for its next Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie triangle, this time with a presidential twist?
Oh, but if it is true, it truly would be a political earthquake in Democrat circles. Never mind America. I don't remember a presidential divorce in modern history.
The temperature kept rising as old allies fell silent. Barack's team confirmed he'd attend Trump's inauguration alone, but sidestepped every question about Michelle. No word on why. No official schedule conflict, no friendly photo op, and in the middle of it all, the pattern kept repeating: high-profile absence, instant speculation, no clarification. Patterns like this don't start with Megyn Kelly, end with her. And we're still left asking, if the most powerful couple in modern politics can't silence these rumors, what else is lurking beneath the headlines, just waiting for someone to pull the next thread? Because the more we dig, the less it looks like a random cascade of stories, and the more it smells like a playbook, a sequence of leaks, denials, and staged appearances, designed to steer the narrative just far enough from the truth to keep everyone guessing. The story wasn't over after the Sinclair interview or the Jen and Barack cover. It wasn't over when Michelle missed her second public event in a row. In fact, with each unanswered question, the stakes kept ratcheting up. Let's talk about the money. $100 million from Netflix, $65 million for memoirs, a $15 million mansion in Martha's Vineyard complete with private beaches and an exclusive neighbors-only golf cart circuit. But here's the question nobody in legacy media wants to touch. If the Obamas are sitting on that kind of fortune, why is Barack Obama still hustling speaking gigs, still cutting content deals, still circling the media circuit as if he needs another cent? In 2023, we saw insiders from the publishing world leak that Barack pushed Michelle to run for president herself, reportedly promising she'd inherit the full Clinton-Obama apparatus and the world's most expensive support system. Michelle, according to those same industry leaks, refused, flatly. Then, as whispers from DC cocktail parties floated out in late 2024, Barack allegedly turned the blame for Trump's first win squarely onto Michelle's shoulders. No more joint interviews, no more shared Instagram posts. Suddenly, Michelle wasn't just skipping inaugurations, she was erasing herself from his public life. And we can't help but see the coordination.
No one held a gun to her head and made her run for the White House and become First Lady twice. Though you wouldn't know that to hear her talk. And on top of that, you know, like Laura Bush, she kind of went off into the sunset and never bothered anybody again. Barbara Bush certainly did that. Hillary Clinton didn't.
The Netflix deal, once hyped as the Obama's victory lap, a ticket to kingmaker status in streaming, has quietly turned into a disaster. Leave the World Behind didn't just stumble, it tanked by industry standards, failing to capture critics or audiences. Rustin landed with a thud, sparking more chatter about mission-driven content than any actual buzz. Meanwhile, the one show on Netflix guaranteed to draw eyes, The Morning Show, with Jennifer Aniston front and center, got pilloried in media reviews as woke propaganda. Hollywood writers snickered in trade paper columns, suggesting that even star power can fix what they call the higher ground curse. That leaves us with a question nobody at the streaming giant wants to answer. Was the affair rumor, splashed everywhere by In Touch and Instagram meme accounts, a clever distraction from a business train wreck? Or did the mere existence of the gossip drive away viewers, partners, and investors, leaving Barack and Michelle less as media moguls and more as punchlines in their own production?
Not to add insult to injury, but there's a Daily Mail report out today saying Kamala Harris's marriage may be on the rocks. Like everybody's on the rocks. Again, I will say I love the Daily Mail, but the sourcing appeared weak. It was like people who know the couple, but like, I don't know if it's any better than that, but they're saying she's blaming him in part for her loss because he turned out to be such a hot mess liability. You buy it?
Meanwhile, the old DC scandals keep slithering back. Remember the 2024 DNI report from Tulsi Gabbard, released with just enough fanfare to whip both sides of the aisle into a feeding frenzy? The claim, Obama officials manufactured intelligence about Russian interference in 2016, creating a narrative that Trump's campaign was entangled with Moscow. It reads like classic political warfare, but here's the twist. The very same Obama officials spent years selling the story that Barack himself was scandal-free, an administration without blemish. So what was Russiagate? A legitimate national security operation? Or a personal smokescreen to keep Obama's reputation bulletproof? Just as the speaking deals and foundation cash started rolling in, let's rewind to 2016. Barack in public warns about Russian hackers meddling in US elections. Behind closed doors, according to leaks from the intelligence community, his staff was pushing carefully curated stories to the press, hints about Trump's secret ties to Moscow. The result? Chaos on cable news, public trust in flames, and Barack Obama quietly collecting $400,000 checks from Wall Street while his foundation vacuumed up foreign donations by the millions.
And that's the thing is, so the Bidens and the Obamas hate each other because Michelle Obama is very good friends with Hunter Biden's ex-wife. So that's led to a significant problem where they don't like Hunter, and if you don't like Hunter, Joe doesn't like you. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if Holmes is right on with this of like, oh, well, why don't we do this?
It's like, oh, man, you give us problems, maybe you can have a problem.
If that's not enough, let's add the international flavor. Malik Obama, Barack's half-brother. The world first glimpsed Malik as a grinning relative at Barack's 2008 campaign stops, but by 2016, everything had changed. That year, Malik posed for photos with top officials from Hamas, a group the US government at the time listed as a terror organization. The photo was real, the fallout was immediate, but the story faded from American front pages almost instantly. In 2020, Malik resurfaced in an interview with the Post-Millennial, airing out his complaints that Barack had abandoned the Obama family, left them in Kenya, and sent little more than letters and polite regrets. Today, Malik runs a charity from Nairobi, one that's so under the radar, even fact-checkers have a hard time pinning down its activities. Insiders in the Obama orbit admit Malik's actions are a family embarrassment, but some skeptics have a darker reading. They suggest the photo op with Hamas wasn't just a gaffe, it was a signal, maybe even a ning. And don't forget, in 2014, Malik went full tabloid and endorsed Donald Trump. The same Trump Barack called a divider and racist. The same Trump whose inauguration Michelle treated as toxic, refusing to stand by her husband for the cameras no matter how it played in the headlines. Each of these threads, business failures, family embarrassments, covert intel games, spins out from the same axis. Barack Obama's public and private life seem increasingly out of sync. The numbers keep growing, but the aura of invincibility keeps cracking. Hollywood dealmakers have begun talking, quietly, about buyer's remorse. Political strategists, who once called the Obamas the safest brand in American life, now leak to Substack columnists that the pair is struggling to stay relevant. Even Michelle's memoir, which once topped bestseller lists, has faded from view as she limits her appearances and filters her DC contacts. Is this burnout, or is there something more? Are the rumors of marital breakdown and strategic distancing more than just social media noise?
The rocks. The question now isn't if, but when. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to Barack. At first, it seemed ridiculous, but the rumors have remained steady among New York.
It all brings us back to Megyn Kelly's accusation that Obama shoved things down our throats. Policy, ideology, and maybe stories meant to distract us from the real money and power games behind the scenes. Was she talking about healthcare, or was she talking about payouts, speaking fees, foundation gifts, Netflix checks that don't fit with the humble public servant image sold to millions? The Russiagate narrative, the business implosions, the family drama, they're not isolated blips. They form a mosaic of contradictions. Who, we have to wonder, is orchestrating the spin? Every time the conversation turns to Barack's finances or foundation, another controversy crops up. Leaked DMS about Jennifer Aniston, an anonymous Substack alleging a breakup, and every time the story seems to cool off, another puzzle piece drops, like Michelle's unexplained absence or Barack's awkwardly formal Instagram tributes. Now, as we watch the news cycles tighten, we can't ignore the uncomfortable question. If the Obama marriage has become more stagecraft than substance, what does that say about the presidency itself? If the country's so-called no-drama leader was always acting, always following someone else's cues, who's really been pulling the strings? We see a cast of insiders, strategists, and friendly media faces, but the director always stays out of frame. Is it the donors who keep the checks flowing, the global foundations, the secret DC societies, or is it Barack himself, scripting his own comeback, gambling that he can outrun every rumor by making the next scandal just interesting enough to change the subject? Barack Obama's presidency ended in 2017, but the scandals? They're just getting started. Because if his marriage is a lie, his presidency was a performance. And performances always have a director. The question is, who's pulling his strings? Who's really running the Obama show? Drop your wildest theory in the comments. Do you think the truth will ever come out? Or is the biggest cover-up still to be exposed? Thanks for watching. Keep your eyes open and don't blink, because in the world of power, the next twist is always closer than you think.